Chapter 16, Part 2 of The Nightland by William Hope Hodgson. This Librivox recording is in the public domain. The Nightland. Chapter 16. In the Country of Silence, Part 2. And sudden, the little man that did be the master doctor looked up quiet and piteous at me, so that I knew in a moment that mine own maid did be dead. And he to see that I knew, and he covered the face of mine own, and stood up very speedy, and he called softly to the men that did be to my back, and he signed to them that some to support me, and some to lift mine own maid and bear her unto the great gateway. And he looked keen at me, and I to fight a little that I breathe, and afterward did make with my hands that the men not to come near me, neither to touch mine own. And the master doctor to understand that I did be truly strong until I die, and did beckon the men from me and from the maid. And I stooped in a little, and I lifted mine own maid into mine arms for that last journeying. And I came down the mighty lane of the 100,000, all in their grey armour, and they did make silent salute with the discourse reversed, each man as I passed him, and did be utter silent. And I scarce to wot of aught, say that all the world did be quiet and emptied, and my task to have failed, and mine own to lie dead in mine arms. Yet truly did it to have failed utter, for I had surely saved mine own from the terror of the second Nightland, and she not to have come alone and with madness unto her death, but to have died in mine arms, and she surely to have been comforted within her spirit, because that my love did be so utter about her. And I to think vaguely and terribly on 100 sweet love actions that she to have shown unto me, and sudden I did remember with a dreadful pain how that I never to have waked to discover mine own maid kissing me in my sleep as to have meant. And a madness of anguish did flash sudden through the numbness upon my brain, so that I did be blinded a little, and surely went crooked in my walk. For I to know sudden that the master doctor steadied mine elbow for a moment, but afterward did leave me be, as I to have again control of my spirit. And lo, as I drew nigh unto the great gateway, the lights of the pyramid to begin to glow again more strong, and the machinery of the lifts and the air pumps to work, because that now the earth current did grow once more to natural strength, and they to have power now to open the great gate, which did be done by great machines. And there to come forth to meet me a number of the masters of the mighty pyramid, and the dear Master Monsterwaken did come before them all, so eager as that he did be mine own father. And he to have heard somewhat vaguely that there to have been a fear for the life of the maid that I did bring. And surely he did be told by one near to the gateway that the maid did be dead in mine arms, for he and all the masters did pause and stand silent for me to go by, and did reverse each his discourse, and this to have been an honour shown, than which there did be scarce any greater. And there went a constant murmuring up in the night, which did be the speech of the millions, questioning, and the news that the maid did be dead went upward through the miles, and my spirit to know as in a dream of the spiritual noise which did go outward through all space, and did be the grief of the multitudes as they did hear this thing. Yet truly there did nothing comfort me anywise, neither I proper yet to know the verity of my loss, for I did go stunned. And I came in through the great gateway, and the full watch did stand there silent in their armour, and they made the salute of honour. And I went onward with the dead maid that I did bring out of eternity. And presently they that were around did guide me with the maid in mine arms unto the great lift. And I took mine own maid into the great lift, and the masters came with me, and did be in their armour, and none did speak to me. And the Master Monsterwaken and the Master of the Doctors stood silent to the side of me. And there did be everywhere great multitudes that I did see vaguely, but my spirit not to wot of them. And lo, I stood very quiet and dumb as we did go upward through the miles, and the millions of the city stood about the great lift, and there did be a great silence upward and downward through the strange miles, save for the weeping of women in dear sympathy that did sound far and low and constant. And presently I to know that the Master Monstruaken and the Master of the Doctors did look one to the other, and I to be aware sudden that I stood in my blood, for I did be wounded in 100 parts, and the blood to go alway from me. Yet did the Master Doctor be slow to do aught for me, because that he to perceive that I did be slain in the heart, and there to be no pain so dreadful as that he should be like to wake me unto, if that he went hastily. Yet presently there did come whirlings into my head, and some one did surely make to ease mine own maid from mine arms. But I held her dumbly, and the blood to go the more from me, and they not to know what should be done. And I to look at them, and the dear Master Monstruaken did be saying somewhat unto me that I did have no power to hear, but only to know that his face did be very human. And there went a strange noise all about me, and the Master Monstruaken to seem to hold me up, and to beckon to some that did be to my back. And lo, there came a blackness and the gentleness of arms about mine armour. And I to come presently to quietness and to half dreams, and did alway to seem that I carried mine own maid in mine arms. But truly there did pass 3 great days whilst that I did be thus. And I all that while to be laid quiet, and to be tended by the Master Doctor, and aided by all knowledge that did be known of humans. And on the 3rd day, as it might be called, I to come full into my senses, and the pain to take me in the breast, and the Master of the Doctors did be with me, and they that nursed me, and the Master Doctor watched me very keen and gentle. And I did be in a bed of the health room of mine own city, and I gat from the bed, and the doctor to say naught, but only to watch me. And I walked to and fro a little, and he alway to watch me, and presently he gave me somewhat to drink, and I drank, and I was gone soon from all knowledge. And I to come again unto a knowing that I yet to live, and there went a certain strength in my body. And lo, the first that I did see was the Master of the Doctors, and I to perceive in a moment that he had wakened me, and had nursed my strength for that moment that I lived through the burial. For he to be very wise, and to have known from that first seeing of me that I not to live after that mine own did die. And there was brought to me a loose garment, but I to refuse the garment dumbly, and did look about me very troubled and forgetting. And the Master Doctor looked alway at me, and lo, in a moment he called one and gave an order. And there was brought in then my broken armour and a garment to wear below. And I then to know that I did be content in this matter, and the doctor alway to watch me. And they dressed me in my broken armour. And surely, as they dressed me, my spirit to hear the sorrow and sympathy of the multitudes, and did know that they went downward by millions unto the country of silence. And lo, in that moment, when I near to be in mine armour, I to mind sudden again that I never to have waked to discover mine own maid kissing me in my sleep. And the pain gat me in the breast, so that I had surely ended then, but that the Master Doctor set somewhat to my breath that eased me, and gave something of dullness unto my senses for a while. And I did be carried then in a sling unto the great lift, and there did be a bed in the lift, and the doctor to have me to lie upon the bed, and I to know that he also to know that I never to need a bed any more, neither should I ever to come upward again in the lift. And truly the mighty pyramid did be an emptiness, for there did seem to be left only the stress masters that did arrange the moving of the millions. And the stress masters did stand about the lift as we dropped downward through the great miles unto the underground fields. And we came downward in the last unto the country of silence, which did lie 100 miles deep in the world, and did be 100 miles every way of silence unto the dead. And they that were with me gat me from the lift, and did mean to carry me in the sling unto the last road. But I stood upon my feet, and made that I should walk, and held out my hand for the discourse which one did carry. And the Master Doctor signed that they should obey me, as my spirit to know. And I walked very steadfast down the way that did lead unto the last road, and the Master Doctor walked behind me a little space off. And surely there did be all the peoples of the world in that great country, and the peoples did be spread out for ever, so far as my seeing did go, and they to have sight of me, and all the ether did be stirred with the humanness of their sorrow and their kind sympathy. And there grew a murmur which did be like to a low rolling thunder, and did be the voices of the peoples. And the rolling of that great hushed sound went to and fro across that mighty country of quiet, and there to be afterward an utter silence. And I saw below me the place of the last rest, where did be the beginning of the last road, and there did lie there a little figure covered with a white robe, that did glimmer with the beauteous work of women that had stitched love and honour into that last garment. And surely I to rock upon my feet and to steady myself with the discos, and the master doctor to be unto my side in a moment and gave me again something that I breathe in. But indeed I to refuse after that I had taken one breath of the drug, for I to be able to bear my pain the little time that I now to have to live, and I to mean that I have no dimness of my senses for those short minutes that I should have yet near unto mine own. And truly the master doctor did not press me anywise, but had a perfect understanding, and went quiet again to the rearward. And I came soon to that place where mine own dead one did lie, and the master Monstrawaken stood to her feet and did be clothed in grey armour, and had the discos reversed, and this to be for an honour unto my dead maid. And there kneeled two maids in white, one to the right and one to the left of mine own, and they to be for faithfulness, and did be maids, because that they watched by a maid, and had likewise been matrons, if that the dead had been wife unto any. And the place at the head of the last rest did be empty, and did be for me, and he that stood to the head did be for love, for it did be the chief, and did hold dominion over, and did make to live both faithfulness and honour. And this to be the way of the burial alway. And lo, I took courage into my heart, and I stood to the head of mine own maid, and I looked down upon the wondrous white glory of the garment, which did be white because that mine own did be a maid, yet did be worked with yellow flowers of weeping, as we did call them, because that she had died in love. And I to know that no hand had touched that wonderful garment save the hands of maidens. And behold, as I stood there, from far away over the land there did come a far and faint sound, and the sound did come more nigh, so that I knew that afar off, beyond the hills of the babes, the millions did begin to sing the calling song, where million did call hushed unto million. And the sound did come onward toward where we did be, and did go over us and pass onward in a hushed and wondrous breathing of sound, as that all the love that did be ever in this world did call in a low anguish unto a lost beloved. And the sound to pass away and away over that mighty country in the deep earth, and did hush and hush unto a great and utter silence, save for a faint murmur of countless women weeping that did be in the air of that land of quiet. And there to be a space of silence, and again the silence to be broken by a far sound, and there to come again from beyond the far hills of the babes a strange and low sound, and did be as of a wind wandering through damp forests. And the sound grew, and came across the hills of the babes, and did be breathed forth by million after million, so that in a little I to hear the song of weeping sung very low and sorrowful by the multitudes. And the song came onward over all that great country, and passed over us, and went onward into the far land beyond the dome, and did be caught by the voices of millions, that did be hid in great distances, and so to go onward forever, and to die at last unto a mighty silence. And Master Monstrawaken looked at me from the feet of mine own maid, and I to know that the moment did be come when I to part from the maid Nanni for ever and for ever, even though I to live in some strange future, and to find her soul in some other sweet child. And I stooped and laid the discos beside mine own maid there upon the last rest, and the two maids drew back the light wonder of the garment and showed me the face of mine own, and she to sleep there forever, so sweet and hushed as a child, and as oft I to have seen her to sleep. And I looked a little while, and the pain of my heart did be sufficient, so that I knew I died as I looked. And once more I looked, and I set my soul about mine own, and I fought with myself, and stood upward, and the maids did cover the face of mine own maid. And the Master Monstruaken commended Nanni unto eternity. And he raised the discos reversed, and lo, the road did begin to move upward unto the dome, and mine own maid did be upon the road, and I to fight that I keep breathing, so that I not to die before she be lost utter to my sight. And there did rise now a sound from all that country that had no order in it, and did be like to a low moaning that did fill all the air of the land. And there to be also a constant sound, as of a little whistling dree wind that did be in all that country of quiet. And truly this to be more than any singing, for it to be the true weeping of multitudes, that did sorrow from the heart with the grief of this thing that did be. And I stood utter still, and did draw my breath very even, and looked unto that small form that did be now afar off where it did lie upon the moving roadway. And I gazed, as that my soul and all my being did have no power else, even as a man that dies doth set all his strength to a last movement. And I not to wot that the Master Monstruaken and the two maids did hold me up, because they to perceive that I did be dying. For I only to see mine own little one lying afar off upon the moving of the last road. And the maid in that moment to come to that place where the road did pass into the strange and luminous vapour of the earth current, which did lie all about the base of the dome, and the vapour to be only as a faint shining smoke, scarce seen, yet to be enough to give something of uncertainty to the dead, when that they did have passed inward of it. And I stared, with all that did be left of my strength, for mine own to be gone utter and forever in but a little minute. And the uncertainty of the luminous vapour did cling about her, and to make her to seem unreal to my gaze, for the vapour did be in constant movement, and to give a seeming of shifting to and fro of all that did be in it. And behold, as I did stare with my dreadful pain, there did be sudden a strange hoarse noise from the nearer millions. And lo, in an instant there came a mighty shout out of all that country. And the shout did be made again, and did grow into a mighty hoarse roaring from the millions, so that all that great country did be filled with the monstrous sound. And in verity I to have seen the thing likewise, but to have set it to the madness of longing of my heart, and to that desperate and dreadful pain which did make me to be crazed and lost from all sane thinking. And the thing that I did see had been that the maid did seem to move there upon the last road where she did lie, but indeed this to have appeared only to be the stirring of the luminous vapour of the earth current, which did seem to make things shift as I have told. And lo, I now to see truly that the maid did move where she was laid afar off upon the road, and I now to know and to believe that she did indeed live. And my life came into me with a bounding, yet did my heart seem to be a moment stilled in my breast. And the Master Monstruaken to have signed already that the roadway be stopped, and brought backward, but I to be now upon the last road, and did run as a madman, shouting vainly upon the name of mine own. And I to learn afterward that there to have been a dreadful peril that all the near millions to rush toward the last road, and so, mayhap, to have caused the death of many, and to have been like to have crushed mine own. But this danger to have been eased, because that the watchmaster did act very prompt, and set the great regiments of his men to keep back the millions, and did send a signal abroad over all the country that there to be a calmness, for that the maid should be succoured. And alway, whilst this to be, I did run staggering most strangely upward of the last road, and surely that great roof did ring and boom with the constant and mighty shoutings of the millions. And there did run others also along the road, to my back, but I to have been the first, and to make a good speed, though I did stagger and rock so strange upon my feet, and the road alway to be moving backward under me, and so I to be come wonderful soon unto where the maid did be, and she to be upon her back, and to have pushed the garment from her face, and did be lying with her eyes open, and a look of gentle wonderment upon her dear face. And she then to see me, and her eyes did smile at me, very glad and quiet, for there to be yet an utter weakness upon her. And lo, I came with a falling beside her, and I gat upon my knees and upon my hands, and my heart did shake my lips to dry whisperings. And she to look weak and steadfast unto me, and I to look forever at her. And I did alway try to say things unto her, but my mouth to refuse me. And understanding did come into her as a light, and she to know in that instant that she to be truly come into the mighty pyramid, and I to have gat her there somewise, and she to wake sudden in her body, and set her hands forth all a trembling from the garment, and in dreadful trouble. And I to see then that the blood did go from me constant, and the maid to have perceived this thing, so that she was waked the more proper in a moment from her death swoon. And surely I did bleed very dreadful, for all my wounds did be opened with my running. And I to have sudden power with my lips, and did say unto her very simple that I loved her. And she to be all in an haze from me, and I to know that she to have come likewise unto her knees, and did have my head upon her breast, and there to be an utter shaking of the air with some great sound, and a mighty spiritual stirring of the ether of the world. And there to be then the voice of the Master Monstruaken very dull in mine ears, and the low voice of the Master Doctor, but I never to hear what they did be saying, and did know only that mine own maid did live, and I not to mean to die, but to fight unto living. And even whilst that I made this resolving, I was gone into an utter blackness. End of chapter 16, part 2.